Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for showing up at the Afridamos Report today. Um, it's a late show, but I truly welcome you for coming here. Today's conversation is going to be about Pan-Africanism, this going back to African movement, how this is the new prosperity, you know, um, the prosperity preacher thing that people use. Because if you notice, the church used to use this, and people started turning their backs on the church. Because if you guys remember, there were several preachers who became really rich from the church, preaching prosperity to people, telling them that, you have to come to the church, pay tithes, so that you can pay for the lifestyle of the preachers, and as more and more people, started turning their back on the church, now, they have to find leaders to go to. Lion King, how you doing? So this is where these two gentlemen come into play. But the reason why we are here today is to break down a latest video that was put out by one man named Tariq Nasheed. You see, Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson, you've seen them on the poster. These two, hey, this is Africa, welcome, welcome. These two are at the top of the food chain, when it comes to, talking about, you know, race, selling skin color. And the way they sell it is through victimhood. But to be fair, Dr. Umar Johnson, he is more he's more consistent with his hustle, with the way he do it. So for those of you who are always wondering where this low level, YouTubers that come up, they come up with talking points. Now I'm going straight to the source. This is not about the black seeds and stuff. Those are they target the Back to Africa movement people. But you see, Dr. Umar, he explores Africa too. He adds Africa to his equation, but he is not, I don't know where he stands on, as far as people repatriating, but he is trying to continue the legacy of Marcus Garvey, as he always says. That's what his academy is about. And for Dr. Umar Johnson, coincidentally, people, check this out. He is related to Frederick Douglass. Are you guys seeing a pattern here? And he also quotes Marcus Garvey. Think about it. Who else? Who else quotes these two people? But they're supporters, because this is like a cult. You cannot speak about these people. But the best way to learn about these Hotep prophets, Pan-Africanist prophets, FBA prophets, the way to learn about them is to watch their videos. Watch when they form alliance to be friends. Their alliance is all based in lies, because they're all hustlers. So in a way, they have to form an alliance to agree on certain, to pretend like they are together. Just like Tariq Nasheed pretended to be part of the ADOS people, Tone Talks and Yvette, he pretended to be a part of them. But then he created his own organization called FBA. You see? So that's where he differs with Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, he put up his hustle, which is he wants a school built. He wants a school built. Why does he want a school built? He wants to teach the black children, black boys. He wants to teach them skills. He wants to teach them how to combat, racism and white supremacy. But now, people did donate. Black people, they came out, They donated to him. Even at one time, there was a video that came out. They found out he loves going to the, he likes going to the strip club, you know, because the man is working hard doing all this thinking for the black nation. So he goes to the strip club. That came out. People didn't care. They still donated. He made a video and he called black people trifling for not donating. They still donated. We were like, okay, cool. Dr. Umar ended up getting, I guess, almost, I guess some people said close to $500,000. Because you see, in America, you have to sell self-esteem to people, because skin color is money in America. I hope you people know this. Because you look at the game, how it's played. They demoralize black people. They made black people believe that their skin color is a hindrance. Because sometimes when I sit there, I listen to some black people talking, the way they speak about blackness, it honestly makes me sad, because they don't even realize that, right? Because they are saying, oh, you don't want to be black. When people try to force somebody to take something in, is if that thing, they don't see it as valuable. So to me, the people are, they themselves are looking down on blackness, but they don't even realize it. But people like Dr. Umar, they are capitalists. They are raised in the American system. They look at it, they are like, how can we package this? How can we turn this into money? How can we become the next Jesse Jackson? Because they watch Jesse Jackson, made money off of it. Al Sharpton. So now is their turn. So Dr. Umar got his money, right? But let's find out, when Tariq Nasheed had a fallout with Dr. Umar. Because he did say he was with Umar, he supports him. In fact, he brought him in his movie called The Hidden Colors. These are documentaries that he made. And people are whooping and hollering as if he made something that is this exceptional. But, when you watch it, a lot of it is based in myth, the things they talk about. Because even if you're a logical person, you're going to question a lot of things, because they're telling you about, black inventors. They said, oh, these black people invented this 100 years ago, whatsoever. But now, you're saying you want to celebrate this. You're making yourself look bad, because now you're debunking your own argument that you're putting forward, that, you are hindered by slavery. Because the people you're celebrating to say over 100 years ago, that, those people faced more restrictions. There were actual laws, actual laws that barred them from being able, to perform as full humans, have their rights as humans. So now you're saying an individual who's in bondage, who laws were made against, was able to overcome all that and, build these things that you talk of, was able to invent things. Now, I'm glad they themselves are saying this. So now, today, these laws are not even in place. You're free to do things. How come you're not able to invent new things? Are you saying all the inventions died with those people? So, but a lot of people, they want to keep glorifying that. But you see, Tariq has an answer for this question that I just raised. Because you have to realize, this man is not a dummy. You can say everything about him except being a dummy. So instead of him taking the route of many other race hustlers, like being under the tutelage and the thumb of a white liberal politician, he didn't do that. He is a self-made man, just like Dr. Umar Johnson. Tariq Nasheed, he's written his own books, such as, the art of, marking, how to pick up girls and stuff. He's written books like that. But now, he is somebody who is also very dynamic. Okay? He doesn't stay with one group. In fact, at one point, he was quote unquote African. He in fact traveled some African countries. He went to Zimbabwe. I saw his video where he wanted them to give him free land for reparation, which is funny because the transatlantic slave trade didn't include Zimbabwe. But, he tried. So he's the type, if he's going to shoot for something, he shoots for the star. Do you blame him? He shoots for the star. Because when you shoot for the star, if you miss, great. But guess what? If you hit it, you win big. And that's what's been happening with Tariq. So at one point, his focus was about Africa. Then he made another movie called 1804. It's about Haitian Revolution. Then he started promoting Haitians. But these days, when the ADOS thing came and he came up with FBA, now the Africans and any black person who are not, quote unquote, their ancestors were enslaved, those people are the enemy. They are not part of their group. Because there's a reason why he's selling that. Because you see, when you're a race hustler, you have to figure out a way, to keep selling to your victims. You have to target a group. So, like talking about white people, to be frank, even some of the black people, I guess they get tired of hearing that. They need new group for this race hustler to talk about. That's the difference. Dr. Umar, he doesn't pick on Africans. That's not his game. He's not in that. But Tariq and a couple of other race hustlers, their thing is to go on Twitter and fight with, a couple of people who are probably second generation, Americans whose parents are from African countries. But he would refer to them as Africans. But I don't think Tariq even really means it. But he knows his audience. His audience, they are into this. They want you to bring fresh meat for them. They want you to make them feel good about themselves. So to beat down on Africans excites, a lot of other black Americans. So that's where the connection is today. But now, let me play Tariq's new video. This would remind you of evangelical videos that you used to see. And this is fresh. And then I'm going to play another video that I would analyze. This was his beef with Dr. Umar. So you will see that they all have the same patterns. But like I said, he aims high. With Tariq, I don't know if I would call him a scammer. Because, okay, he takes advantage of the race hustle. True. He collects money and say he's going to make movies. And he does make those movies. So, can you call him a scammer? I would leave that to you guys. But this other video here, this would knock your socks off your feet, because this guy is very ambitious. He is not playing. He wants what he wants, and he will go for it. And here we go.
Greetings, family. This is Tariq Nasheed. I am your community servant. Right now, I am in South Los Angeles on the world-famous Crenshaw Boulevard. And with your help, we want to build...
Have you guys... I know some of you have seen this type of video before, this commercial. Yeah, I think St. James, I agree. He's not a scammer, but I think a clever manipulator. Because I'm conflicted with that, calling him a scammer, because I don't know if he would qualify as that. But if you say clever manipulator, I can agree to that one. But this in this video, you can see he put in a lot of effort. He had drone shots and all that. So he's going to tell the people what he wants. Let's listen.
The first ever hidden history museum right here in the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles, which is the...
We all know the hidden history museum. We all know that is his movie, Hidden Colors. Tariq, just come out and tell us. See, Tariq is going to write this Hidden Colors series for as far as he could. So now he wants to turn it into a museum. Let's listen to the type of history that's going to be exhibited in this museum.
Cultural epicenter of Black Los Angeles. Right here on Crenshaw Boulevard, right here, there's an empty lot for sale, and it's in the perfect location for our Hidden History Museum. We want to acquire this lot so that we can build your community museum. There's museums that touch on Black history, but they don't get too deep into it. This will be the first grassroots owned and controlled Black history museum in the world. In our museum, we want to touch on a lot of things that are not touched on in other museums, covering a lot of spaces here in the North American continent. Speaking of Moors, we're going to talk about the Black Moors who conquered Southern Europe. The Black...
So you realize he talks about the Moors, right? In Southern Europe, this is where he puts his emphasis on. If you notice, Tariq sort of always, and he wants to promote, to say, create this idea that it was Black people, some groups of Black people that conquered Europeans. He only tries to take Blackness and fit it in a European setting. So in this history, one place you're not going to hear about is the Black factory itself, which is Africa. So at one point, he was, like I said, he was in the camp. He even went to African countries and stuff. But now, he is catering to the camp that said that they are not from Africa. They are aborigines of America. So this is what he's promoting. In fact, some of the people he's going to show here, you're going to see that they don't have African features, but I won't spoil it for you. You go ahead.
Are never talked about in museums. This is going to be the first time it's talked about in our museum. We're also going to have a section talking about Black rebel leaders, like the Black Seminoles, like other Black Maroons. We're also going to have a section talking...
So the Seminoles and Maroons, so he's confusing a whole bunch of things here. Like the Seminoles, these are Indians. The Maroons, you guys, some people know about the Maroons, coming from Jamaica, the people that went into the highlands and then, eventually killed their slave masters. So he's mashing the, bunch of stories from places that he even says, oh, these are Black immigrants. He's against them. Yeah, Africa React. Yes, he does talk about how much he's against Black immigrants in general. Whether they are from Africa, the Caribbean, you name it. But that's his story.
About the real history of Black music, particularly the foundational Black American history of hip-hop. I produced a lot of best-selling documentary films, including the Hidden Color series. So a lot of things that's in our documentary films are going to be featured in the museum. And speaking of the films, we're going to have a screening room upstairs in the museum where we can screen our films on a regular basis. We're also going to have large meeting rooms where we can have conferences and community.
So you guys realize, in this day and age, you don't even need, the type of museum he's talking about. You could just put these things online, and they are online. In fact, that 1804, I met Black people who were so excited. They're like, have you seen 1804? about Haiti? I was like, oh, you just hearing about it? They're like, yeah. I said, oh, I read about that, a long time ago. Since I think in high school, by high school, I already read about that. I knew about 1804, and in fact, you can go to any library, nearest library in America, and find it there. People, I'll tell you one thing. If you're truly about knowledge, you're about knowledge in America, American libraries are packed with books. There's a library, like the central library that I go to in the city. There's entire sections, like floors. I'm talking, this is about African history. African history, different countries. You can go read these books for free. That's what they are there for. But he's going to cater to people who do not read, you see? So, but even what he's asking for here, he can get a grant for this. Do you know, like the US, the federal government, they are looking to sponsor things like this. All you got to do is write your grants to them. But you have to prove some things. But Mr. Tariq here is going to tell you how much he needs.
It's for the people. Not only will this museum be a great cultural institution, this museum is going to be a great tourist attraction that will help revitalize a lot of the black businesses that are already here. But family, we need your help. We need at least $7 million to get...
Yeah, you guys heard that right. He wants $7 million. That's why I said Tariq is a very smart, intelligent man. So if people are like, oh man, 7 million, that's a lot. At least you guys can walk your way to maybe around, if he first asks you for 7 million and then come down to 2, then he would sound reasonable. So Tariq, never approved of Dr. Umar's hustle. I knew for years he was trying to find a way. He was trying to find a way to get the same thing that Omar has, the school money. Because when you are in this hotel business, it is a never-ending thing. You have to bring things to the people. Let's see, Bo said they don't give grants for hotel. No, but Bo, that's for the museum. He can show them this video. I think he'll get it. I mean, some white liberal would feel sad about it and talk people into it, and they approve it. But I think I'm with you. The 7 million, he might not get that, but he'll get something. And I think the people have already started donating. Let's hear what else he's going to say.
Project completed, and we're going to start doing everything in stages. We need at least $1 million in the first phase to get the museum project off the ground.
This is Dr. Umar 2.0. Did you guys remember? Dr. Umar first, he wanted about $200,000. $200,000. That's what he needed. And then the goalposts kept on moving and moving. But you see, these people, they are the ones that come up with the things that black people need, if you notice. It's not like it's black people going to them and saying, hey, I think this is what our need is. They just say, hey, a school, but we're the ones bringing the school to you. You have to donate to us. You see? So now he's been talking about this, museum idea for weeks. And I said to myself, he is going to collect money to say he's going to build a museum. And the following week, this video, boom, is here for us to see. And his is more classic than Dr. Umar. Because, Dr. Umar, he's not taking the time to put this stuff out. He's busy taking picture in crisp, very crisp jeans, with single mothers posting it online. So people tend to poke things in his credibility. With Tariq, he stages things, systematically. He thinks them out. So when he drops it, it looks super legit. Because how many people are going to fall for this, to be honest? When they see this, he put 3D, 3D, museum buildings already. He's got drone footage. People are already mesmerized by this. They are like, oh, Tariq is stepping it up, taking it to a whole new level. He's already went out there and scoped it. Because if you look at it, when they came up with ADOS, he played along like he's with them, then boom, he came up with FBA. So FBA, the ADOS people came up, they're like, oh, we want to set up our meeting, our conference. Can you imagine? Tariq also set up his conference. And he got more people than the ADOS people. Because the ADOS people, they don't want to invest even a tiny bit to be able to scam the people. Because they want to base things in talking. Tariq tells them about tangibles. So now he's moving to a museum. You see, this ADOS thing, FBA thing, is dying out. It's dying out. The election has came and gone by. The white liberals don't need them anymore. So they're not paying attention to all that, reparation talk. The white people don't care. You see? The white people don't listen to that. So you just have to look at, ADOS's last, conference meeting. They said, oh, we cannot go meet the people. So they did this conference thing, and it looks like Tone Talks and Yvette Carnell, they are not even in good terms. Like I said, this is how these things always end up. Because when you see them together, know that they are aligning in lies. When I say lies, they want to finesse money out of people's pocket. So they have to agree with each other. But once things start falling apart, you don't see them together as much. So I've heard some people saying, oh, Tariq killed, the ADOS movement. No, he didn't. The white people, are not listening anymore. Like they had that fake lady, Marion, I think, she was a presidential candidate. I think Marion Wilson. If anybody remembers her last name, put it in the chat. Think about this. She went to the ADOS people to talk there, talking about she's praying for them, she's for reparation. This woman is playing black people. You see? So the same way Tariq played them, that's how the white woman was playing them. You see, people, don't forget, Tariq spent most of his years in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, So he was able to break away and, do his own thing. So you have to give that to him. At a time when most black people are fighting to go work for, white companies, corporations, he fought to do things on his own. You see? So this is why he's able to put these proposals to black people. And there's a lot that's going to bite it. But he's not the reason the ADOS movement is dropping. White people are no longer entertaining the talk.
So that we can acquire the land. Everybody who contributes to the museum, we're going to have a wall in the museum with the names of all the donors. So your name is going to be built into the foundation of the museum. So we need you to get involved. There's going to be a lot of other perks as well. So everybody get involved. Let's make history. Let's take control of our own community and our own history. Get involved with the Hidden History Museum right now.
Yeah, so people, you have seen that, right? So Tariq wants 7 million, but he would take 1 million for the start so they can acquire the land. But now, Let's look at how Tariq feels about another Pan-Africanist, who, by the way, was in his first series, Hidden Colors. Let's listen to when Pan-Africanists or Hoteps have a fallout. This is where you learn the true nature of Hotepery, because you would find out they are not as tight as they are with each other, and they speak the truth that most people, so like when people point those truths out, they will call those people haters, but when they get upset at the other Hotep, they would repeat the same thing. Let me play this video here when the Hoteps had a fallout.
Dating and life coach Mr. Locario will help you with his 30-minute.
Elevated this dude to a certain level and put this man for being the fraud that he is. And I'm not saying anything, everything in moderation. We see a lot of folks, even the so-called conscious people have this thing where they want to throw stones at the BET watching ratchet crowd, the crowd of people who just are very open with the bullshit that they like. They like ratchetness. They like drinking lean. They like doing nigga shit. They just like smoking, partying, fucking, just complete nigga shit. And they're just open with it. There's no pretending. So there's a lot of so-called conscious people or...
So you see, Tariq, he uses this thing where... So when he wants to take shots at the very black people that he's talking about, he usually takes it through somebody else. He would say, oh yeah, this person wants to say this about this crowd of people, but he would say the things at that moment that he wants to say. Because black people, they can just turn their backs on you right away the moment you say one thing they don't like, about certain crowd. They would get upset and not listen. So he makes it seem like, this is Dr. Umar, saying this about these ratchet people. But it's not me. He's saying these people are throwing shades. But he talks about ratchet people all the time, and as he should.
Called woke people who try to criticize that and act holier than thou, when there are a lot of people who are supposed to be woke. They enjoy garbage and fuckery too. A lot of them enjoy garbage and fuckery too. And that brings us to this situation between me and quote unquote Dr. Moist Bumpy Johnson, aka Papa. His words, he calls himself Papa, which is basically the Prince of Peach Cobbler.
So people, he's talking about the Prince of Pan-Africanism himself. You understand? He's calling him a so-called doctor. Didn't that just discredit his own movie that he said he brought scholars, to give you the best history? But now, think about it. One of the scholars is the Prince of Peach Cobblers, as he is calling him now. So do you think the hidden color should make it into that museum? Because he's saying the man is a so-called doctor. How did you put a so-called doctor in your documentary that is supposed to be real? And yeah, Rasmo, you're absolutely right. That 1804 was a big joke, but many black people bought into it because they don't know what the true history is.
And yes, I'm still taking shots. Yes, I am. I'm still taking shots. This show is not going to be me dragging him anymore. I did 2 classic roasts. I did a part 1 and part 2. Lighten that ass up. Unapologetically lighten him up. Unapologetically. Okay? And for those who don't know, some people might be confused. Some people are not confused. But understand this. The reason why I had to light him up, and the the clapback, and this is what it is. It's a clapback, and the clapback has gone viral. The clapback has gone viral. And the reason why, for years, as we know, Umar, and let's go back. For those who don't know who he is, if you're new to the game or whatever.
So people, the reason why I'm playing this, I played Tariq's latest video, and he's asking for donation for a whole bunch of money to build a museum. But that ties into what he's talking about here against Dr. Umar. So the first video was to lay the foundation for you to see if in fact Tariq just followed in Dr. Umar's footstep and decided to ask for a whole lot. Because Tariq copies a lot of people's ideas and make it his own, if you are paying attention.
Or somebody I put in my movie, elevated this man, gave him a shot, put him on the silver screen all around the world, help him become known because he was a very articulate dude. But what happened, unfortunately, and as I said on my roast videos, he became the David Ruffin out of the group. And every group, unfortunately, there's that David Ruffin. There's the David Ruffin. There's that one person, the Eddie Kane Jr., who believes that it's all about him and everybody owes him because he's the voice of the group. And it's that person who can't take any kind of notoriety. Everything goes to their head. They're not used to people giving them praise. So when they do, they're so insecure. They buy into everything people do as far as giving them praise. Where when you're in the game, you understand that when people see you, they put extras on it. When people see folks in the public light, they put extras on it. People do that all the time. They see you and it's like, oh man, you're the great Tariq. You're the shit, man. I love.
See, Tariq, he's really, really good at what he's doing. So if he has a fallout with you, he would just roast you, like he said, on his show like this. He would make, he would set it up, keep you in suspense and slowly walk you into his target. So that's what he's doing here. He's making it, like marinating Omar, make you more excited to hear what he's about to drop about Omar. But now, the things he's going to say here, you should question it, because if he said he knew all these things about this man and he still walked with him, people that continue believing in them, what does that say about your intelligence, or even your thinking process?
You, man, you're the best, you're the greatest, man, I love you. And I'm like, yo, thank you, brother. And I know he's just excited to see me. He'll do the same shit for Gary Coleman if he saw him. God rest Gary Coleman. You dig? They'll do the same shit. They'll do the same shit for the next dude. They'll do the same thing. You're excited to see somebody, and then you put extras on it when you see him. So, that goes in one ear and out the other. You don't trip. You don't walk away from that like, damn, I'm the shit. No, that person's just excited to see you. You keep it pushing. But
so see, he's trying to present Dr. Umar like he's just his little fanboy.
This brother was taking a lot of shots at me, and I let it slide for years. I took the high road for years. This man made real slick comments about me online and publicly, several times publicly, and nobody checked him on it. I let it slide, and he should have been checked on it. But those of you who heard him do these comments, none of you checked him. Those of you who heard him do these slick comments, nobody checked him. And this went on and on and on. And now, years after this guy's been exposed for a lot of fraudulent behavior, people...
Guys, remember that word? He said, Omar was exposed for fraudulent behavior. Fraudulent behavior. Ask yourself, why is fraud always attached to hoteps? Have you ever asked yourself that? It doesn't matter where they are, whether they call themselves Hotep, Pan-Africanist, or whatever. I mean, you guys see, even yesterday, I did a video dealing with Pan-Africanist work all the way in Africa. So he's telling us that Dr. Umar is fraud, just like many other people have said in the past. But I bet you he never said it when they were cool until they had a fallout. Because he did put him in his documentary as a scholar, as one of the excellent black scholars. But now he's a fraudster. That's very interesting.
Going in on him, and people are looking at me like, hey, Tariq, are you going to defend him? No, I'm not, because I tried to defend him before and that didn't work out. He still insulted me. So I just took on a policy. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let him deal with his own issues. And, I'm not going to shit on him. More power to him. And as the years have gone on, more and more people are exposing him for being the fraud that he is. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to let people see what it is. Then it got to a point where and this is where the beef came in. And remember, I've said nothing about this dude. Actually, I talked good about him. Even though I know he's a fraud, I'm not going to say nothing because I'm going to let people find out on their own. And again, remember, nobody's saying anything to him for insulting me publicly when you know he was doing it. See, this is the problem I have. Because people thought it was cute. I took the high road for years. There's lectures where this man has made so many crazy comments about me, and nobody said, hey man, you on some bullshit, dude. I should not have had to do anything. The community should have been on his ass. Somebody should have been like, hey dude, Tariq kind of put you on. Not kind of, Tariq put you on. You don't need to be doing that. That's disrespectful. Now, I had some street cats say that, but I'm like, no, I don't want y'all. Nah, I don't want it to go there.
That's his way of sending, subliminal messages to say, I got street goons that can take care of you. So, but he's saying it without saying it. He's saying the dudes are contacting him, but hey, I don't want you guys to go after him. But hey, put 2 and 2 together, you know exactly what he's trying to say.
I've had street dudes like, hey, what the fuck is that nigga's problem? I've had that, but I'm like, nah. And I ain't talking about phantom goons. I ain't talking about the imaginary goons that's on the phone and who ain't on the phone. The so-called woke community, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the woke community. Looking at this nigga running around hollering about he's Papa and Tariq this and he's Papa. I'm Papa. Yeah, Papa, the Prince of Pan Pizza. But nobody.
So because Dr. Umar is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, now he's calling him the Prince of Pan Pizza. That's actually pretty funny.
Said nothing to him, and this is the problem. Because see, people thought it was cute when he was making his little slick comments. He say something slick about me and it's all, ooh, oh, come on now. Shh. You got a little chuckle out of the drama. You see, you got a little chuckle out of that drama. And nobody said nothing. Understand this dude did it for years and just fuck shit and just lying about the school and lying about the money and lying about all this shit for years, and nobody really said nothing. And he has a reputation of attacking people. He attacked verbally Sarah Seti, and I think Brother Polite verbally attacked him with all that bullying shit and talking at niggas like he's gonna get at him, and a lot of cats back down over that. But remember, this dude's taking shots at me. I'm the nigga who put him on, and I'm the person who has spoken highly of him and elevated this dude to a certain level and put this man on television and well, movies rather, in the international spotlight.
But you see, with the Hoteps, like I said, it always comes down to money. He's saying that he scammed the school money, but he is claiming to know about this, but he never said anything. He told you himself. How come he didn't say anything? I mean, he loves black people, right? He's fighting for black people. But he didn't say anything until he, Omar, as he claims, said something slick about him. But I'm pretty sure whatever it is, Tariq low-key started it. Because he's the type, you see, he's very cunning. He probably said a lot of things about Omar, but now he's making himself look good in front of the people.
This man had the nerve to talk any type of greasy about me. Not only he never thanked me, he was on some shit where I owe him. And I wasn't looking for thanks at all. I just go ahead and do you. But the thing is, oh yeah, I'm not, I know about the action figures and cartoons. He's posting cartoons of himself because, people do that. I mean, people gave me an action figure. I don't be posting that shit up like, I'm a super nigga. No. I post that shit up as a joke. It's funny. The same people that made his action figure, that nigga be posting this shit like Big Papa is gonna come save the universe. He be buying into that shit. Somebody in the room saying Zaza Ali is taking shots. Let her live. Come on now. Y'all know I'm done with
that used to be another black freedom fighter, but she's faded out. I haven't heard anything from that section of the Hotep section.
I've said what I had to say about Zaza. Shout out to her. She's trying to get some shine. I made a reference to her the other day. She's trying to get her shine up. She's done. We're not going to resurrect her career's gone. We're not going to even resurrect her shit. All right. We're not going to resurrect her stuff. She's a complete non-factor. All right. She's salty. I think they brought her over to the UK. The promoters told me like 5 people showed up. I mean, she's done. She's done. And she knows she's done. She's just trying to get attention. Let her live. Don't bring that shit up in here. Don't bring that up in here. Anybody in here talking about her, my mods, get them out the room, okay? I've shown her paperwork already, so she's done. She was another one who didn't learn the 48 laws of power. Law 19, know who you're dealing with. You got to know who you're dealing with. Don't get into it with the wrong person. That's a very important law. You don't get into it with the wrong person. So back to Dr. Umois, Papa, aka the Prince of Pound Cake. So Umar's making these shots. He keeps.
So you guys, as you can see, when these Hoteps, Pan-Africanists, they have a problem with each other, they are not nice with each other. They call each other all types of names.
These shots, keeps taking these shots. Okay? And nobody's saying nothing, and I'm cool. And people keep asking me about all of these scandals he's in, and I'm deliberately not trying to get into it. I'm deliberately saying, hey, I don't want to be involved. But he's been so desperate to take a shot at me, just go all out on me because he's so fucking jealous. He's been so desperate.
You notice all these Hoteps use jealous quite a bit, and their fans do the same thing. Like in one of my videos, I saw somebody went there, told me that I was jealous of their prophet. Oh, you're jealous of her car? I'm like, Why would I be jealous? I don't need to. But when you hear a lot of these people spewing this same rhetoric, this is where they are learning it from. They are learning it from people like Tariq or Dr. Umar. So they use those talking points when they are talking to you. This is why I was talking about telling a story, real life story, experience, my own experience. One of the FBA people came in here. He's like, oh, he stole that from Dr. Umar. Okay. I'm talking about my own life. Like, this literally happened in my life. How can I steal that from Dr. Umar? Are you serious right now? But this is what they made the people, their followers, believe. I mean, right now, there's nobody that can say anything that makes sense without them saying, oh, you got that talking point from Dr. Umar. Oh, Tariq was saying that. But are you paying attention? I'm telling you about my life story. This has nothing to do with these people. But Hotepery doesn't allow common sense. It doesn't allow their followers to think for themselves. Only the leaders. And if you notice, the leaders are the ones making money too. Dr. Omar, he's living it up. Tariq, he's living it up. All you got to do is check out their social media, and all the places they are flying to. So, if anyone is in doubt about where the money is with Dr. Umar, just look at where he goes to. Like the last time he was in a casino doing a live saying, oh, yeah, we're gonna do this together. I'm not into gambling, but we're gonna do this together with the people. So imagine when the money disappears, the people cannot come back and say, Dr. Omar, where's the money? Because he's gonna be like, oh, you guys remember we tried to make $200,000 at the casino? You guys helped me. We did it together. And he's not going to be lying because he put it on live. The people were watching him. He even asked them to pick a number for him and everything. So that's wild.
He saw that as his opportunity. So on one of my shows a few weeks ago, I was actually defending him. I was telling people, hey, man, don't go after the man's license. As far as that other stuff, hey, I don't know. I'm not in it. Hey, don't put my name in it. Because all of these articles coming out about his scams, they're putting my name in the article. So I said, hey, all y'all people writing about me and Umar, there's no me and Umar. That's him. Please don't put me in it.
Oh, African Starship, welcome in the house. You said remove the video. Who's Veronica? Are you talking about the last video I made? And tell me why you want me to remove it. Okay? But welcome in the house, though. And I see that Harman hit back at you. This time he went at you directly. So we're waiting for your response, though. Okay.
I don't want to be in that. Please don't put me in it. So after I did that, he put up a post talking about with a picture of me and a picture of Boyce, just out the blue. And he was like, yeah, I've held my tongue long enough for these two. I'm going to go in on these two. So he's not talking about he about to go in on me and family.
So Dr. Boyce, that's, another race hustler. But it looks like he's declining fast with the people because he started going at it with Kwame Brown, and the back and forth that exposed a lot of things about him, and a lot of people called him out for also marrying a 50-year-old single mother. So a lot of people have been making fun of him on the internet for that. So it looks like he fell from the hilltop of the Black Power movement.
Right there is the last straw. That was the last straw for me. I said, fuck it, bring that on. That was the last straw for me. Because I'm not going to sit around and just let this nigga run amok. I'm not going to let anybody run amok and then try to drag me after I've helped them. Everything they have, your daily bread comes from me helping you, and you know it. So I'm not going to sit back no more and be quiet. And shame on everybody else for not saying anything. Yep, people should have said something to him. And I kind of let people know, hey, man, that's why I was putting up the 48 laws of power. Get your boy. I said, yo, y'all better get this nigga. He doesn't know who he's fucking with. He don't know who he's fucking with. Y'all better get your boy.
Okay, let's see. African Starship. That woman has the full support of me. And, well, I get that. But what if she doesn't have the support of me and my community? Does that matter here to you? Don't forget, like, I get what you're saying, but if you're in a foreign land, if you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. I mean, she's taking a video of an unsuspecting individual in a society where this is not how the people, do things. It's very disrespectful. She took the video, put it in the World Wide Web. It's not like I went and made a video about her. I took her own video, just like you got hold of Hammond's video, to break it down. That's the same thing I'm doing. Like, I'm not picking on this lady. I'm not showing anything that she herself didn't put online. So, yeah. It is a video that her herself posted online. So I don't know how anybody can be offended by that if I analyze it. I'm not calling her names. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just describing it exactly as I see it.
And see, y'all think it was cute, him taking his little shots, because he can take his shots and then you can go kick it and listen to my stuff, and then you can go to his preacher sermon, so you can kind of go back and forth if there's this underlying thing there. You dig? And I said, hey, yo, if you don't get him, I'm going to get him. So he made a broadcast talking about how his problem with me, if I'm not supportive, don't say nothing at all. Like, who in the fuck are you talking to? That was my whole thing. And he was on some shit like, Tariq should have defended me.
Sorry. But yeah, he's talking about Dr. Umar here. But sorry, let me respond to African Starship here. Said, you called her a granny. She was crazy. But isn't she old enough to be a granny? Come on, bro, let's be real here. She's not no spring chicken. She's a granny now. And, to me and a whole lot of people, check the comment section, they agree that her behavior was crazy. This is not just me saying this. This is what I'm saying. Like, the World Wide Web, this is where she put this video. I mean, she thought she was being a warrior doing stuff, but that's not how people are seeing it. In fact, this video, there were people, Gambians, who sent this video to me. They told me about this video, before I even saw it on YouTube. So obviously the reason why they sent it to me, the analysis that I gave it, that's what they wanted to see, because they totally disapprove of what she did. So she put it on the World Wide Web. So why should I take down a video that she herself is not taking down? See, that doesn't make sense. I mean, she's proud of the video. Well, yeah, I'm responding nicely, you know. Let's hear more of this.
After all I did for Tariq.
Well, okay, well, it sounds like African Starship, you said war it is. I guess war it is.
His whole thing is, I did Tariq a favor by making Hidden Colors hot. This is what he was saying. This big, dumpy, walrus-looking nigga got online, not only dissing me and throwing me under the bus, but threw everybody in Hidden Colors under the bus. He was talking some shit like, when you think of Hidden Colors, you don't remember nobody but me. You dig? So he's talking that type of shit. So that was the last straw. And nobody, y'all weren't checking him. Nobody was checking him saying that. Just disrespecting not Dr. Phil, Brother Kaba.
So you see, this is the same thing where, I mean, we're seeing here where people speak on behalf of other people and get offended for them. You see? So Tariq is doing the same thing because he's wanting you to put certain people on a pedestal, but this beef was between him and Dr. Umar. But he wants to pull in, you know, other people that are not part of it. So right now, like for example, African Starship here is telling me he's offended for somebody else and he feels like the video is not respectful, but I'm playing a video of this very individual who was proud enough of their video to put it out for people to see it. So if they don't have a problem with it, you know, why should I have a problem with it? So Tariq is doing kind of the same thing here. He's bringing in other people who were in the documentary and he's attaching this importance to them so that the person that is listening to say, oh, I can't believe you talked about this person, but it's just a person. It's just a human being. Like, what do you mean? What, nobody can talk about that person? I mean, we're on the internet, you know, we're talking about other people. Because the people we talk about, they also have fans. And their fans feel a certain type of way about people talking about them. And when people talk about me too, there are people that like me, that are fans of mine, they're going to feel some type of way. So that's just how the world is. But Tariq is bringing his fans to his side and also the fans of all these other names he's throwing in.
Francis Cress Welsing, Shahrazad Ali, you're disrespecting some real heavyweights talking about you don't remember them. It's all about you. So when you say stuff like that and nobody's checking them, okay, it's time for the big dog to get on up here. And I'm not going to make this shit cute. So I started lighting his ass up. The roasts are classic. And when I started roasting, all of a sudden it's like, ooh, uh-oh.
Ooh, it looks like we have a super tough guy in the house. He said, oh, heterodamus sees nothing wrong with attacking females for views. It's basically a matter of sliding and putting the beats on this dude. He feels too safe behind that computer. You know, lift every voice. You know, you don't have to ask somebody to do the sliding. If you're ready to do the sliding, let me know. I would make that happen in real life. But I don't think you would want to slide on me. Trust me. You do not want to use that type of lingo with me. Believe you me. So, we're going to keep it civil. We're going to talk about things that you think you are willing to do and think you can actually achieve it. Because the internet and real life are two completely different things. Don't get ideas now.
You're going too hard, Tariq. You're going too hard.
And you know this, right? Okay. He's saying, I'm doing this for views. I'm picking on women. Okay. Did I go just talking about some random person? That's not what's happening. But if you live in a bubble, in a place where, truth never prevails, I mean, it's okay to talk about other people, but you can talk about the people they like. That's really crazy.
You won, let it go. You going too hard, dude. You going too hard on him. Don't do him like that, because I went all the way in, tearing his ass up. All that tough talk, and I dare that nigga to do anything to me over and over. He made a video. So you say my name, I've been saying his name for a few days. He ain't gonna do shit. I'm not these other dudes that, you say my name, I'm gonna get you. God damn it, come get me. So I've been lighting that ass up. But and I'm not gonna just keep rehashing that. I'm just giving you a context.
Let's see. So African Starship. So you're saying that your community. Let me run this. So you're saying your community, don't like that video. So do you think the Gambian community, a lot of them, like the video you made about Hammond back to back? Come on, man. Let's not be a hypocrite here. How can you come in my chat room and start saying these things? I mean, you made videos about Hammond, who's a Gambian just like me. But did you see me come in there saying, oh no, take the video down about Hammond? In fact, I gave you, a comment. I said, hey, you're speaking truth. You're keeping it real. That's what it's about. But now you're coming here telling me, oh, you take this video down. If you don't take it down, you've started war. I came to you first. Don't say, hey. It's like people who, like, when they want to leave, they're like, oh, I'm leaving. You don't have to announce it. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. I mean, okay, you said check the likes on your video. Go check the likes on that video and tell me how many people liked it. Go look at the comments. I'm talking black people from America here. Black people from America. Go see what they are saying. Go see what they are saying. No, not every Gambian support what you're doing. I have seen comments where there were some Gambians that disagree with you. And, to me, that doesn't matter. These are their own individual. I'm not rolling in a group. People are free to do what they want. Okay? I am my own person. But for you to come here and say, oh, my community said this. In fact, I saw your video. You big up this lady. You're saying, oh, what she's doing is good. But you are not being truthful here. You're trying to play it like, oh, this Afridamos is talking about this woman. Even though you say we are all black people, we are all one. That's why you are able to talk about Hammond. So now I talk about this woman who made a video. Look, you made a video bigging her up. You praised her. We differed in the way we saw it. I didn't hold that against you. I didn't have any feelings about it. You saw it one way and I'm seeing it another way. We can agree to disagree, but I'm not saying, oh, you know what? If you should take those videos down, or else, it is war. Or else it is war. Are you telling me here? Are you telling me that everybody, like, are you telling me all Gambians, majority, that's, if they see that video, they would be supporting you? Is that what you're trying to tell me here? No. See, you're saying, I didn't even see your video until I saw the video first, from when the Gambians sent it to me. So I saw your video later on. Okay? So your video had absolutely nothing to do with my video, because my video was already queued up, and you could see it. You did something on Hammond, and I see that, to me, it's fair. And I'm like, yeah, the dude is on point. He's right. But now you're getting offended because this woman is a Black American woman. That's what you're offended by, because you're feeling like, oh, how dare this African, get to say this? Are you kidding me? African Starship. You said she was not rude to the people. You gotta be kidding me. So you think that woman can do that here in America without people seeing that as being super rude? She didn't have to shop there. She can just go elsewhere. But she is doing just like many other Black people, Black Americans that go there, because I've played other videos. You've seen it. Is the condescending attitude, talking about, oh, I'm here to rescue the people, blah, blah, blah. That's not her job. That's not what the people need. That's none of her business. Simple as that. And it is what it is. Well, I have the link, Starship. If you want to talk about this, you can hit the link. I'm open to talking to you. But, responding to what you're saying is actually taking me off the program here. Let me continue playing this.
Those who don't know. So the problem is, now that I've lit his ass up, put a lot of his shit out there, provided a lot of receipts showing how consistently fraudulent, how consistently deceptive, how much this dude is a damn liar, how much he's a fuckboy, with receipts, how nasty he is, how much of a little nasty nigga he is, a little herpy bumps on his mouth and all this old shit that I had to cover up in the movie.
But see, now he's physically attacking Dr. Omar as usual. And because once they disagree with you, it has to turn into personal attacks. So like a lot of the people that you see, you come in contact with on Facebook, on YouTube here, is the same type of process. Like 1 minute, especially if they say, oh, we are brothers and sisters based in skin color, based in Black power. Don't trust it, because it seems like it's all based in lies. It's based in falsehood. Because look at the way Tariq is talking about this man. You would have never thought these two even worked together. You would have never thought this man ever thought highly, about this man. But it's the same thing, just like at one point he was praising, African countries, because at the time, that's where the steam is. Then when the African hating came, he jumped on that bandwagon too. So now, it is the museum. So, actually that's as far as I wanted you guys to hear. And, the main focus was actually on the new video. So this is where Hotepery has come to. It is now replacing Not replacing, it's replaced the church, the church, because the church sells hope to people. So they are doing the same thing, and the differences between them and the church, at least I think the church gives people little courage for them to believe in themselves, take little pride in themselves. But in Hotepery, it teaches you to look at other people, especially white people and other black people who disagree with them, to be seen as the enemy. I wonder what it feels like to wake up every day and start thinking about skin color, thinking that is your biggest obstacle. That is, I wonder what that feels like. Because even today, earlier, we had a conversation in Mr. Uganda's channel. And the conversation was very interesting. And what I kept hearing is tons and tons of projection. When, some of these people that came on the panel, a couple of women, one woman was talking about, she said, talking about African immigrants that come to America. She's trying to explain the process. In fact, I'm like on the panel, ma'am, let me explain it. I'm the one you're speaking of. I can tell you the process. But this woman was saying, because a lot of people in America are very arrogant, ethnocentric. They pretend like they know everything. So even they could, they can even tell you about your own history. They can tell you about everything, but somehow they don't know much about themselves. But this woman tried to explain this. She said, when African immigrants come to the United States, the immigration people tell them, stay away from black people. I'm like, so I told her straight to her face, I said, that's not true. And she talked about how Africans hate black people and black people hate Africans. Africans, why would they hate black people? What is there to hate? In fact, most Africans, as far as I know, when they first come to America, they admire black people. Most Africans are thinking about, their school, their work situation, because a lot of them, let me tell you, they look at you like, hey, you're black, you're born here. You don't have to worry about getting work permit and all that. So you're looking at somebody who they are not even, because you guys look at some people and admire them and say those people should help you. Those people don't even have working permit. But you're born and raised here. You have the legal right to work here. So those people, their biggest obstacle is working permit. They are fighting to get papers to work. That's their biggest obstacle. But now here is somebody who has the papers and everything. They are born here. They are coming to you telling you they don't have any immigration issues. But they are giving you nothing but excuses. So this individual is there. They get the paperwork. Guess what? They are going to work, right? At one point, they live their life with no paperwork, mind you. They were not allowed to work in the country. Now they gave them the paper to work. Do you think the excuse is you that is born, you have no obstacle of papers? Do you think, what type of story do you think you can go tell that person that would make sense to them? That's what I keep trying to tell people. Do not assume just because you see somebody, they are black just like you, your experiences are the same. No, even immigrants that come here, even from different countries, the experiences are different. The way they came to this country is different. There's different statuses. There's different statuses that, how people come here. There's different types of visas. It's not like they're like, oh, you know what? This group of people coming from Gambia, they are all gonna get holiday visa. No. Some people get visitors visa, some get student visa, business visa, and some are brought here, to work, like people from India, the H-1B1 visa. And I've met Jamaicans also who come here through that way. But now you're saying, oh, it's white people telling Africans stay away from black people. How can white people say that to Africans? I've been through the process. When you're coming here, you don't know the difference. You just know, hey, in America, there's blacks, there's whites. But all this race tension, all of that, you have no idea about that, because where we come from, that's not how we think, that's not how we operate. You have to realize we don't see white people as anything other than human beings. Despite this popular belief that some of you think, oh, the Africans worship white people. I guarantee you, go tell an African person, because you can mistake the person being nice and hospitable to somebody. If you're not used to being nice, you think these people are fools. And in reality, in America, especially most black people, if you're nice to them, they see you as a fool. They see you as weak. That's how they look at you. So this is why when they see the Africans are nice with foreigners, they are like, oh, these people are Africans. These people are this. But why would they hate anybody? That has to be a burden on one's soul, to walk around with that poison. Because see, when you drink poison, because that's what hatred is, when you have hatred in your heart based on what you're seeing superficial, to say other human, their skin color, you're suffering, because you get to see those people every day. Because no two humans are the same. You cannot compare yourself to other people. Plain and simple. I didn't come to America as a group, with a group of people. It's not like, oh, the Gambia people came together. They are like, hey, let's send Afridamos to America. Or the Gambian government. No. I owe nobody in Gambia anything, and they don't owe me anything. The government didn't pay anything for me. The government didn't pay school for me. They didn't feed me. They didn't take me through anything. Everything entirely my family. So for me, it's about family. So when outsiders come and start telling me, oh, you're my brothers and sisters, that makes me suspicious. Because where I come from, when people over-exaggerate the brother-sister thing, it means they're trying to scam you. And in America, man, black people put too much emphasis on it. But I don't see the brotherly love amongst the people, Even I see not only Americans, not only the black Americans, even there are some Africans you meet, they put emphasis on that brother thing. They seem to do the foul stuff to other people. If I disagree with you, it doesn't mean I hate you. But this idea that, oh, you cannot disagree with me, we are all black, we all know each other. I don't agree with Gambian people. I'm not gonna agree with somebody just because they are from where I come from. Let me see, America, Afridamas, I disagree. Tell that to most black South Africans. Well, again, I'm not from South Africa, like I said. I don't know how most black South Africans, feel about it. That brings us to where, again, I'm not from South Africa. I'm from West Africa. It's two completely different places, different, demographics. Yeah, in South Africa, I noticed also online, there are South Africans who are into the pro-black things, but there are. In fact, I heard a South African today that came on the panel that corrected a lot of the notion, a lot of the things that people were pushing. Even there were Africans there, like all Africans on there saying, oh, they agree with some black woman about racism. I'm like, okay, this is all vague things. This woman is saying that, oh, they brought crack in our neighborhoods. Okay, what? So you're saying you don't have self-control not to take the crack or sell the crack? Because that's what you're telling people. Crack, even heroin is all around. I'm sure people can easily get it. The government, I'm telling you, even the government, they're making it easier and easier for people to get it. They pass the needles to them. But if you are not already predispositioned to do that, if you are not already morally bankrupt, lack self-discipline, you won't find yourself in that situation. And even if you end up dabbling in it, that is nothing but being in a fallen situation. And once you accept and see your mistake, there are many people that lifted themselves out of it. But you cannot be somebody that's blaming people. This woman said, oh, they brought crack in our neighborhood. And she was saying the police knew her cousin's name. How did the police know? And I asked her, I said, is your cousin a drug dealer? She's like, well, that's not the point. The white people gave it. The police were the ones giving it to him. So the goalpost keeps on moving. There is absolutely no accountability, no responsibility. Like, this woman doesn't want to look in the mirror and take accountability of her own action. But she spent the entire time trying to convince a group of people that, no, you guys got it wrong. You guys, your experience is like our experience. The white people are your enemy just like we are. You just don't know it. So let me get this straight. Because this so-called racism that people say, okay, if you tell somebody about it, you're telling them a good thing, right? According to you, you're trying to save their life. So if you're trying to save someone's life, they don't listen. You don't get upset if it's genuine. I wouldn't. I'll just say, all right, I gave you the information. So whatever you do with it from this point on is on you. Because I believe that every human being, you have the right to do whatever you want with your life. You have the right to be wrong. You have the right to be stupid. You have the right to be ignorant. You have the right to be smart. It's all up to you. So I'll give you the information, but it's not like that over here in America, my people that are listening. And when I say my people, meaning the people that are about the truth, people that want to hear the truth, people that are not just basing things on race, on the outer appearance, because that's not where the truth lies. The truth lies in your spirit. So think about it like you're telling somebody that you're trying to save their life. You're telling them about this big monster called racism. And the person is not getting it. Why would you get mad at them if this is real? You should just let them experience it. But now you're talking to somebody, and most black people do that here in America, in this space. They would just focus telling you that, oh, it's their history, blah, blah, blah. As if other people, anyone you see has a history. Everyone has a history. It depends on what that history is, but everyone has a history. But now it's up to you to live in the past or live in the present. That's all up to you. But now you cannot tell me you want to live in the past and then try to convince me to live in the past. You see, one thing, the strength that where I got my strength from, I'll tell you right now. It's not from material things. Because here in America, it's about that. Most Americans you meet, this is not only black people, even white people, they are very shallow. Not all, but most, they're very shallow. Everything is about material. This is why you hear here in America when there's like, economic situations for especially mostly white people, like they would commit suicide. Let's say they lose their jobs. They would commit suicide because they are thinking of, the financial burden, the lifestyle they have. And you have blacks, to some who would commit suicide, or they would do whatever it takes to make money. This is why, people that don't understand the American culture, when you're watching, this is why you hear them constantly say, oh, we're going to Africa to save the people, because everything is about material. They think money can solve everything. Because if it's about that, America would have the happiest people in the world. There's plenty of money, material. Even the blacks that tell you sad story, they have plenty of materials. They have plenty of things. But these things cannot make people happy. This is why you're seeing people, suffering from identity crisis. They're telling you their attachments, to different groups. This is why you see this year, the person could be, they would say, I'm an Indian. The next year they would tell you, oh, you know what, I discovered, I used to be Indian, but now I'm not only Indian, I am also black. Because, for example, right, only in America you can do these things to change. I'll give you an example. Kamala Harris, for example. You can go read the article. The first time I knew about her is when she came in the Senate. And I read it in a newspaper. I'm talking about physical newspaper. So I see that she was represented as the first Indian American. Indian American. If you don't believe me, go find this article online. You will see it. So, in about 2 years later, she was being sold as a black woman. As a black woman. So this is why they co-opted what they call BIPOC to say blacks, colored and Asian people. Because now they know other people are going to catch that. So all of a sudden now, that's why they try to popularize we know India. India is in Asia. But most people don't call Indians Asians. You guys know this here in America. They call them Indians. But if you notice, the TV now, they're trying to push this idea for you to see Indians as Asian. They want to put it in your head. Yes, India is in Asia. But that's not what us here in America refer to them as. But because of Kamala, they are doing that. So when Kamala became black 2 years later, black people accepted it. They accepted it. So to me, it's like, okay, how is this even possible? Think about it. Rational people are sitting there watching this. We're watching these things. We're reading these things. And then you come to me. You don't know anything about this. I've had black people tell me, I am dumb. I'm a hater. I don't know what I'm talking about. Kamala is black. Her daddy is black. Even like the princess, that one princess, who's now Meghan Markle, another example. I've had people tell me she is black. But they said, you are what your father is. think about it, Meghan Markle's mom is mixed. She's a mixed woman. Then that mixed woman marries a white man. So what would that child be? We all can see her. We all can see that woman. You're not going to see that woman and just say, oh, she's black. So to me, the American black classification is too confusing for me. So this is why I don't want to play the race game with you guys. Because where Rachel Dolezal can pass off as a black person for many years, and she was working with black people who said they are fighting for black people that are discriminated against on skin color. If these people cannot tell the difference between a white person pretending to be black and an actual black person, to me, I can't be with that. That is too confusing for me. So if you even want me to play your race game, at least, clear the line for me. Let me know who's black and who is not. For example, like Colin Kaepernick. They say he's black. He's all of a sudden putting his fist up, doing it for the blacks. So all the freedom fighters that are promoted, go look at their features. None of them look like me. They are not. Their blackness, if we even go by skin color, is confusing. But then you get, your low-level internet gangsters coming at you telling you, oh, they want to tell you about your own African history. They keep telling you all the people are the same. You're like, look, we are not all the same there. We are different ethnic groups. This is how we see each other. They're like, oh, that's tribalism. No. Listen now. In the world, people are different groups of people. They live in harmony. They live in peace. No, you don't know blackness. Okay, fine. Tell me about blackness. They want to tell you about blackness, but they forget to answer this question. Who told you you were black? Who called you black? Who started making you define yourself by your skin color? The white man. You said the white man took your name, your ways, your mores, your culture. I agree. When they brought slaves in, they did that to them. And also, you have to remember, black people from slavery till now, at the time, they didn't have any contact with Africa for over 250 years. So in that 250 years, there were generations that were born during this period of time. They were born in slavery, in bondage, where people are transported from place to place. They were taught by the slave masters for these 250 years. So therefore, the culture that you're exhibiting, you cannot call that an African culture, because there is no such thing as an African culture. There are cultures in Africa, but to say one, no, because like in my country, the most popular tribe is Mandinka, but I'm not a Mandinka, and I grew up around Mandinkas. I can tell you for sure our cultures are different. I speak Mandinka. I know the language. Our cultural setup is different. Some things are similar. We do some things together, like naming ceremonies and stuff. But even the way we conduct the marriages and all is different. But now, you said you were stripped of all that. Now you come face to face with me. That would make me the prototype, right? Because if you are saying your ancestor that you came from was the one taken from Africa, one ancestor taken from Africa, that's where your bloodline came from. That means that bloodline went with the person. Just like I'm here. My bloodline is with me. The children I make here, they stay here. Yeah, they have people they are related to, but they're not going to have anything else to do with those people if my children never went to Africa. They would know, I'm from Africa. They're my relatives. He will understand things, but the culture is not going to be as deep with the children here versus the people back home, because that's where the origin is. But now, if you are going to Africa saying, I'm a Pan-Africanist, now you have to ask yourself this question. The things you are against, the things you're saying you are changing, is it possible this is actually how these people, Africans, is it possible this is how people actually live their life? Is it possible like this is really their nature? But you don't like what you're seeing. You don't like what you're seeing, then you want to make blames for the Africans that the Africans themselves are not making. You start saying, oh, it's the Lebanese holding you back. It's the Chinese, it's the white man. But the African ourselves don't think like that. Me growing up, I have never even looked at other people, what they have, or looking at their success or no success, and I never even care what somebody would say to, because I've heard some black people come saying, oh, our culture is the best. Okay, compared to whose culture? Because people, we don't believe in saying, going around, oh, my culture is the best. Like if somebody who's Mandinka say to me, their culture is better than mine, it wouldn't offend me. I wouldn't even care, because I'll be like, okay, in what way? Our cultures are not the same. You got things you do, I got things I do. How are you going to compare this? There's no comparison. Because, like, how are you even going to do that? But you look at it, you have black people telling other black people, like black people from America, like, our culture is the best. Okay. You're like, what makes your culture the best? Oh, we are the great, we are entertainers, we are basketball players. I'm like, oh, you think that's what made your culture the best? Yeah, I mean, entertainment is cool, but what's that going to do? That's not gonna build anything. Once you go past that, like, yeah, you get your entertainment, and then what? Because people are not sitting over there in Africa. I've never met anyone when I was growing up saying, oh man, I'm training my child to become like a black American entertainer. I've never encountered it. Even here in America, because I see even black people accused saying, oh, these African parents, they tell their kids not to hang out with blacks. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure they're not saying blacks, but the people that are in their area who exhibit certain behaviors, they're going to, a loving parent who wants to see a better future for their child, they're going to tell them, do not associate with those people over there. You guys have seen, I played the news here, where this a Gambian woman who was killed by her own son in New York City. Because the son didn't have a job. He was 22 years old. And, I've broke that video down to say, people, you cannot wait till your child is grown and then you want to discipline them. And if that child, where he got that courage from, is from hanging out on the blocks. And he picked up bad habits. And that was manifested. You have to teach your kids. You have to be safe. But if you're looking at the results of the people, let's say you come to a country, even those of you that are thinking about repatriating to Gambia, same thing. What, you're going to go to Gambia and hang around with the troublemakers of the Gambia? Because there are people who go to prison in Gambia quite a bit. People that go to jail. I bet you won't hang out with them, because those people are doing things that you, as a decent person, you're not going to want to be associated with it. So why should that be an exception for another immigrant coming to a country who has zero bias on what they are seeing? They just want what's best. They are looking at things. They see all of, because when we come here, the people we see, whether black, white, Chinese or whatever, I just see Americans of different colors. I didn't know anything about you guys' racial tensions. I didn't know that. So this is why for most people they would say, it's not real, because unless somebody forces it on you and start telling you, then you will see. But there is prejudice. There is prejudice, that's for sure. Because you look at the history of the country, for years, black people, yes, they did take advantage of black people in this country. And do some people still exhibit that? Absolutely. But it's not as common as people are trying to put it. In fact, white people are scared to speak around blacks nowadays, especially for many years. I mean, just look online, look on TV, look everywhere. Look at, hey, let me tell you, if you want to know who's got the power in a country, look at who you are afraid of talking about, or who you can talk about and get away with it. Did you guys know who Nick Cannon is? Nick Cannon is a rapper, and he's been in movies as well. So Nick Cannon decided that he was woke and started putting on turbans. He said he went back to college. He's a historian. So he started talking about history, started talking about melanin. In fact, if people even know this melanin thing with blackness, go look at, in the brain, there's a part called the supranegra. So the reason why most black people, if you know why most black people in many parts of the world are not as intelligent as other people you meet, is because of that supranegra. That very thing you call melanin, that people say it makes you intelligent, is the opposite. If you have way too much melanin, 9 out of 10 times, you would have a hard time to be able to have comprehension capacity to understand things. Not all, but, some are going to be exceptional, I mean, the rule is not always going to apply. But let's look at what is common. What is common in the world. So this is why when you're dealing with a bunch of black people, you cannot talk about intelligence. You cannot talk about brain power. Because the moment you start talking about that, they're going to say, oh, are you saying all black people are this way? No. And they themselves, they know this. Because we are all in the world. We're seeing black people who are exceptionally intelligent. We see what they are doing. We see these things every day. But you would get somebody who wants you to put them at the same intelligence level as another person, just simply because that person is black, they are black. Even though they can't even spell properly. But they're like, oh, you know what? He black, I'm black, so that means we all have the same intelligence level. That's not true. I know there are some watching thinking, oh, I can challenge Afridamus. I'm the same as Afridamus. But no, you don't understand what I understand. You don't know what I know. You don't have the experience I have. And you too that's watching, oh, I don't have your experience. So if I want to speak on your experience, there would be a disconnect. You would see me as an arrogant, as an arrogant piece of shit. Because you are going to be like, dude, you don't even know me. Why are you trying to tell me about me? So this is what happens in these spaces. And these talking points, they come from their evangelical leaders like Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson. You know, people just parrot these things. They're not thinking. You know, in fact, you meet another black person. They have an accent. They don't sound like you. Clue number one, that the person is foreign. You are not of the same culture. And that is okay. You are not, but the only time that's not going to be okay is when you start comparing yourself to other people. See, when you start comparing yourself to other people, you would always be disappointed, because there's always going to be somebody who's better than you at something. Always. Okay? For example, let's say Russell Wilson, the Seahawks quarterback, very good quarterback. In football, you would think this guy is super intelligent at it. But if you bring Russell Wilson to my field and I'm explaining it to him, he would be a dummy in my field because he knows nothing about that. I would be a professional there, just as he would be professional in football. So this is how life is. If you meet another black person from another place, it's okay that, they didn't get their ass kicked by white people, their history. Because when people talk about colonialism, I wasn't born back then. In fact, we don't have any stories or history in my family or anything close by. We don't have any bad history about white people or any other people doing anything to us, whether white or black. It's not there. See, we don't adopt the victimhood thing. See, when you meet an African person especially, you start talking about all your weaknesses. It's a turn off. Because think about when people are coming to America. America is presented as the richest country on this side of heaven. It's presented as people are doing well here. They show us, we see TV programs where black people are doing good. So some of you think it's the shooting and stuff they show us. No. In fact, white people do black people a good solid. The programs they show, when I was growing up, there was few movies I've seen, and that is not white people that showed that to me. It's a movie. We do get movies too. Like I've seen, Boys in the Hood. Back then those were the ones popular. Boys in the Hood. We've seen that. But there wasn't people, we weren't running around saying, oh, this is how we are acting. That's not what we were thinking. Let me see. Amilka said, when you say Africa, there is where you go wrong. Afridamus. Can you elaborate? I don't know what you're speaking of here, but what I'm trying to get people to understand is, like, you are perfectly fine the way you are. You don't have to try to convince Africans or other people. You don't have to try to convince us of your suffering, your plight. Because I don't know what you want us to do, to be quite honest. Okay, we talk about slavery. It no longer exists. It's been over since 1865. That's been a long time ago. You weren't born, I wasn't born. You want to tell me about colonialism? I wasn't born, you weren't born. I have no beef to show you how I'm impacted or not impacted by colonialism. You see? Because that's not what I was taught about. I was taught about my culture. You know, this is why you won't see me saying, oh, I'm looking up to such and such, looking up to Malcolm X, looking up to such and such. No, I was raised in a family where my father is the head. I have grandfathers. We have strong men. We look up to the men in our family, our fathers, because that's what the structure is. But now you come to America, most people you talk to, they're pointing to people they have no relation to. These are the people they take their cues from. These are the people they take life advice from. And you start wondering, man, what is going on? What happened with their own parents? Did their own parents fail them? Because that's what it would be. I cannot imagine, even looking up to another man. That's who I'm looking up to for my answers in life. Because you have no relation to this man. Yes, I'm not saying you cannot take advice. Like, you listen, you pick things that are good. It's one thing to do that. But it's another to start acting like this guy is your God. This is what many people are suffering from. Let's see here. Most West African countries colonized by Portuguese only been independent for 30, 40 years. So we will know. I think there is only one country. In West Africa, it's only one country that was colonized by Portuguese, which is Guinea-Bissau. Angola, that's in, I think Angola is considered south or central. But even those, when I came to life, there were very few places in Africa that were still under colonial rule. Very few. In fact, let me see, who can I think of that were under white rule? I can't think of one. I think South Africa, but that was apartheid. They had their independence in 94. But I can't think of another country that was colonized under white colonial rule when I came to life. No, I said West Africa. Yeah, Mozambique and Cape Verde. But yeah, all these places you're saying, these places were free by the time I was born. And I'm telling you that even like Gambia had their independence in 1965. So that means like even my mom was born during that time. She was alive, family, other people. But nobody can ever give you a story about the white people. It's not like the white people were there marching and stuff with their armies. So sometimes when we hear colonialism, in most places, it's just what they call indirect rule. Indirect rule, meaning they have, like in the British system, they have the British administrators, few of them there. They rule through the local chiefs, and they divided the country into two. You have the colonial part, and you have the protectorate, which is the inner part of the country. So when people are saying, oh, these people sold out, what did they sell out to? Like there are people who never even came in contact with the white people. Like I know people, like growing up, my relatives, some of them who have never even seen a white person ever. Think about that. Like they've never seen a white person. So like when I came to America, it was weird to me, like, because when black people, they would whisper to you like about white people. I said something is spooky. At first, I'm like, this has got to be a joke. I thought it was a joke because honestly, when you come to America, from where I come from, you're not used to seeing the type of things you see, like the way people behave, the way they talk, and you're seeing the black people, they're not like you, but the way they talk, it's usually kind of funny to you. You know, it's like, okay, why is this person talking this way? You're not used to that. But the black people, mostly, they would talk to you as if, like, they are not giving you a brief about the place. They are speaking to you as if you're just one of them. You're from here, you know things, but you don't. So mostly it's like dealing with those type of people is not helpful to you as a new person in a place. Because how are you gonna meet this person? They're in fact the ones asking you answers about the place. You know, it's difficult. And I see somebody giving thumbs down. Maybe they are that kind of person. You know, maybe they are that kind of person. And again, I'm sharing, mind you, I'm not saying I'm telling you my opinion. I'm telling you from experience, from what I've seen. How many black people do you see in Africa making videos, sharing their experiences from over there? How come we cannot share our experience without it being something that people hate? Oh, how can you share your experience to the rest of us? You shouldn't be talking about this. Let's see. So, Afridamus, did you ever face racism there? I did hear, but that does nothing to me. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I wouldn't say I have faced quote unquote racism because it's kind of hard to even explain this. This is why I say I don't use that word. Because let me tell you, if you are at a job, let's say government job, most people don't know this. A lot of this quote unquote racism, discriminations, the government is who discriminates, against black people more than anything. So, but they pretend like it's private. So if you write a report, let's say you work for the federal government or the state government, you file a EEOC report, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You file that about you say racism. They are going to scrutinize you. They're going to ask you. These same people coming on TV, these same white people, liberals encouraging you, talking about racism. If you write this, you try to present it and say, oh, look at the racism I faced. They will not take it. They're not going to accept it. If you just say racism, they would say, explain it. So don't forget, the things you see on TV, on CNN, they are calling racism. Most of the time, this is not even black people's own creation. It's not black people coming up saying, this is what racism is. Black people have their own complaints of racism. But somehow, CNN doesn't pick those up and show those. They just show what they want to show you and say, this is what your new fight about racism should be. You have many people, they will tell you about police brutality. Ask them how many times they've been brutalized, or who do they know that's happened to? Trust me, a lot of these people, they come on here, they talk tough on the internet, right? A lot of these people are what we call house pickings. These people are homebodies. They don't have that type of interaction with the police. They are keyboard warriors. These things they are seeing it at home. So they think this is what the reality is out there. You see? So for me, let me tell you, this is coming from a guy who was once wrongfully arrested. I was wrongfully arrested one time, taken to jail. They took my freedom away. So you see, I could have been bitter. I could say, these people, they are racist against me. Okay? I could just yell that. I could harbor that in my heart and hate all white people. Because the beef that I was taken to jail for, it was between me and a white person. This person keyed my car, my Mercedes Benz, and I caught him in the act. I confronted him. I talked to him like a nice gentleman, and then the police, I called the police. The police came, and he lied to the police. He said I choked him. And they look at me, I'm a big African guy, and they believed it. They said, in fact, the police, they came to me. They said, "Sir, did you choke this man?" I said, "No, I did not choke this man." So later, a rookie, this is a new police woman. She was only in the police force for 6 months. So she goes, they left the decision to her, and she goes, she looks at the white dude's neck and made up a false report saying that, yes, Afridamus did in fact choke this man. And the reason this police was given, they didn't even make sense. Because they said, well, the car is a very nice car. We can see how somebody would get mad and choke somebody for keying their car. But see, I'm not that type of person. They try to paint me as a violent man. But I didn't get bitter. I went to the American, justice system, their court system, and stated my case in front of the judge. And I won. I was able to clear my name. But you see, if I would have resisted and want to fight the police, now all of a sudden, I would end up getting an actual charge. Do you know most people, that's how it starts? Being arrested means nothing, just so you know. Being arrested, it means nothing. Anyone can get arrested. But now, the big deal is if you're charged and the charges stick. So I knew the charges weren't going to stick. So I did not try to argue about it or anything. I just told the cop, I said, I reserve my right, not to speak. I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right, which is what I did. See, right there, I took individual responsibility. I'm not trying to do a group thinking, because this is where your individual thinking comes into play. So imagine if I had resisted arrest with those cops. Do you guys know how many cops were there? Man, they brought a whole bunch of cops just for one man. They had their gloves on. And this, for me, being somebody that worked in the prison, is the same tactic. We have the same type of tactic. We're trained at the time like the police. So I know what the mindset is like. Because I know, like, okay, these people have already decided that they are going to arrest me. So they will arrest me. Whatever I do, there's nothing I can do to escape that arrest. Even if they have to kill me and take my body to the morgue, even if that's what they have to do, they will do it. You know how I know this? By working in corrections. If we show up at your cell door, we say to you, you are coming with us. We're taking you to the hole, meaning segregation. Or, I come up, I say, turn around and cuff up, meaning turn around so I can put the handcuffs on you. And it's a choice. We can do it the nice way or the hard way. So think about it. For years, I have seen what happens to inmates that resist getting handcuffed. Because I know, like, there is officers who, like, honestly, they look forward to somebody resisting arrest so they can, practice their little jiu-jitsu on you. So I already knew that. The way these people were standing, I was like, nah, you guys are not about to test your training on me. Here. He's like, sir, we're going to handcuff you. I put my hand right behind me. They hit me with the handcuff. So to me, it wasn't even a big deal because guess what? As a former officer, I have done that drill many, many times. We do that training, handcuffing one another because you got to get your timing on. So at the time, the way I looked at it, I said, look, I have put handcuffs on many people, so it's only fair for the handcuffs to go on my hands. And I took it like a man, like a responsible person. But you see, I lived to tell the story here today. But if I had resisted arrest, what do you think would have happened? Let's see. Lion, you say, why have you been resisted? Are you asking, why did I resist? No, I did not resist arrest. Let me tell you, the best place to embarrass a cop, to get back at a cop, is when you're right, they do wrong to you, do not resist arrest. Because you know what's going to happen, right? Let's say if they're arresting you wrongfully, if you believe it's racist, it's based on skin color, just make sure this is on camera, on their little body cam thing. Make sure this is there. Do not give them a reason to use force on you. Because, in the police force, even if they touch you this way, it's called use of force, even if they touch you. But now, there is no limit to how much force they could use on you when you resist arrest. This is why you see in videos, you would see a guy and like he's just mouthing off. Like the cop would let me tell you something. The cops, like, they would ignore you, right? Because you could talk smack, you could talk whatever to the cop. But don't forget, the cop is a human being. You can say all this, they cannot touch you. But now, the moment he says to you, you are under arrest, and you start arguing, it's game over. Because he could just do whatever to you, beat you up, do whatever with their cop buddies. I mean, later they could even drop the charges, but you've already taken the beating. You know, just the simple fact that he says the word, you know, you are under arrest and you resisted that. You've disobeyed, you know, a law enforcement personnel's command. I know people are going to say, why should I take the command? It's the same way in prison. This is what the lingo is, even in prison. When an inmate, I have seen with officers these people, they have a chip on their shoulder. And I'm telling you, a lot of these inmates, the inmates in the prison, they have jokes, okay? They can roast you whatsoever. So I see where sometimes an inmate, they would roast some of these officers. And they would say certain things. Yes, the officer cannot touch them, but the inmate doesn't know, you know, where the red line is. Because the officer is listening for certain phrases for you to say. Well, then when you say those phrases, imagine like, okay, you're a grown man, I'm a grown man. You start trying to roast me. For instance, I get mad, but I have power over you, but I cannot touch you legally. But now I know that I can start giving you commands. Because I know that I can give you these commands and you cannot deny doing it. You have to obey the command. If you don't like it, you can grieve me or report it later. But now, these officers, they have techniques. They will get into it with an inmate. The inmate would say certain things to them, and they will start saying things to them and then give the inmate a command. Now the inmate is pissed. He's got his ego. Like, dude, come on, man. I'm a man like you. You can talk to me like that. So now there are other inmates watching. Now his ego kicks in. The officer is like, stand for search. Let me tell you, that's the prison officer language. Stand for search. The inmate refuses to stand for search, and he hits the emergency button. 775, we have an inmate refusing to stand for search. And it's over. But let's say the inmate is black, right? The officer is white. The inmate is going to think, oh, it's about racism. But no, he forgot that you were just roasting this guy. You were saying all these things. So now you know he can't touch you, but he's also using a loophole how to get back at you. I've seen many of that. But I've also seen, this is why I say prejudice exists big time. I've also seen people that have these ideas about black people that you call racism. Yes. I have walked in on very disturbing conversations. So when I say racism doesn't exist, I'm speaking in terms of the vagueness of it. But I like to describe exactly the action, the things. Because you guys remember Michael Brown, who was killed in Missouri. Hands up, don't shoot. At the time, I was an officer, but I didn't even know about that stuff was happening at the time. The way I found out about it, you know, most of you would call it, you know, it's a racist way. At the time, you know, that's how I saw it too. But then I changed my phrasing of it because I wrote it down. So I walked into this office and there were a couple of officers there. And they were cheering something. They are looking at a computer and they did like cheering. Yeah. And I was curious. I said, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, you didn't know? I said, what? They said, this is word for word. You wouldn't believe this. He said to me, he said, oh, you didn't hear that one of your black brothers went down? Like that. So, like, I didn't know what he was saying. So I walked to the computer. I see on the headline, Michael Brown, a black man, got shot by a policeman in Missouri. That's the first time I knew about it. And yeah, it's not that easy to get me upset. I'm not going to lie. I was very upset. I was very, very upset, even though at the time I didn't get the full information, but I was upset and disturbed by the fact that, like, I got to work with these people, but here's this guy cheering the quote unquote, the gunning down of one of my black brothers. You see? So sometimes some of these divisional things that, some of the black people say, yes, some of them are true. They are in fact true. You will run into that. Like, people would say little things, and it's for you to put two and two together. But that is not the norm. This is why when someone says it, you're shocked. And most of the time, majority of the time, what people would call racist, when white people are present from experience, white people would check other white people for saying things that are quote unquote racist. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. But I've also had black people say things that you, the viewer, would say is racist or xenophobic. But you don't see me going around saying that is the representation of all black people or those white people who were in that office that chaired that. At the time, the anger I had wasn't directed towards all the other white people. It was only those 4 guys who were in that office cheering that. And I'm not going to lie, like, it changed my view of them, my perspective of those individuals. It completely changed it. So, this is why I say, people that are trying to force people to say, hey, this thing is happening, don't get mad at the people. Just let them see for themselves. But now, when you say racism, do you people know that even the LGBTQ people, they use that word too? Because they compare the LGBT thing to skin color as well. So now the lines are getting more and more blurry. More and more blurry. We don't even know where we stand anymore. So this is why it's hard to bring Africans into it. It's really, really difficult. So you cannot blame people if they don't see it your way. And I would think you don't want somebody to limit themselves just simply because you believe there's like some white boogeyman, holding them back. Because I have learned, in fact, the craziest thing is working in prison, a lot of the black inmates, you would, that's what shocks me. You would hardly run into, as far as what I know, you would hardly run into a black inmate who is talking about this quote unquote white supremacy. Believe it or not, it's actually very shocking. They are not there telling you, oh man, I'm over here because I'm black. So it always blows my mind when I see people who they said they're fighting for some inmates, right, in the prison for racism. But the inmate himself is not claiming racism. You see? The inmate is not claiming racism. But somebody who, got like some college degree, now all of a sudden they think they know better. For example, you would even see nowadays, like I've heard some black women on the internet telling black men that you guys ain't shit. We're the ones that save your life. We're the ones that match for you when the police gun you down. Okay. So you can only match when the black men are gunned down. But also she forgets that, okay, fine, you got that female privilege. They can allow you to go out there and be loud and do whatever. But now, if you send the black men to go do that, they would be getting gunned down again. So to look at them and say, look at black men and say, we are the ones saving you, that is not really the reality. This is why this grouping thing is dangerous. African Lion says, our African brothers and sisters are lost. There is many who are definitely lost. Like there's absolutely no doubt about that. There's absolutely no other way to put it, other than the way we see it. Because I know, for example, even these videos that I played here, like when I first knew of Tariq, first, I have never ever bought into his narratives at all, ever. But I think that he's a good entertainer, that's for sure. Let's see. Amilcar said, a lot of Africans are lost too. Oh, yes, you are absolutely right about that. See, okay, with black people in America, it's like it's two extremes. Like you would meet some who like they wouldn't know anything about most things at all. But then you would meet some who they would know way too much. They would know way too much, for their own good. You see? Because if you're being bombarded with too much information, but it's not rooted in a strong foundation, that becomes a problem. Because if you shake the person's identity, if the person's identity is shaking from a family level, then it's easier to manipulate the way they think. Most Africans you would meet, them being lost, their lostness is like, man, they wouldn't know anything. About the only thing they can tell you about is their job. That's the only thing they can tell you. At least, to be frank, with black people, they are interested in engaging. They're interested in engaging you in history talk and human behavior. So that, I noticed like blacks in America, they are really into that. So you can talk about it. But with Most Africans, depending on the country they are from, especially females, it's really, really hard to be able to hold, conversations like this with them, because there's no give and take. So I think most Black Americans run into Africans like that, and they're like, oh man, these people don't know what is going on. I've met Africans who they have degrees in healthcare, like nursing and stuff like that. But these things I'm talking about here, they have no clue about it. They have absolutely no clue. When their boss is talking to them, whether white or black, they just stand there smiling. So the people are like, oh, this person is nice. But they really are not interested in what you're saying. Most Africans, if you want to engage them about talk about land, like land, buying lands and stuff, in their country. Now you would have a conversation with them. If you genuinely ask them about their culture, because a lot of Africans, especially African women, especially the women, they are super duper into the culture. Like, for me, like, I respect cultures and all that, but I'm not into, like that super culture-y thing where you're like, oh, I'm limited by this X, Y, and Z because of culture. Because if I was going by culture, even what I'm doing right now, this conversation I'm having with you guys, I wouldn't be doing it, because somebody in my culture, they've already told me, oh, this is against the culture. I said, which one? They said, our culture. I said, guess what? They said, what? I said, I just formed my own culture. In my culture, this is accepted, and that's what I'm doing. And I told this individual, the day you take up the mantle for paying my bills, paying for my lifestyle, guess what? You can tell me your culture and I can obey it. You see? But, yeah, I mean, like, everything I do, though, when I say I'm not into the super culture thing, it's still, it's all based in a strong foundation. So I look at, what works for me. I look at what works for me. Because I was telling you guys, like in my tribe, it's a caste system. But I don't go by that caste system. Many people here that are watching, they will probably just be, interested in the slave class, which is the last class. But there is other classes right above the slave class. Like the other cultures, they practice it, but most of those tribes, like let's say Mandinka and others, most of those groups they deviate from it. It depends on if they're from up country. Because, like anywhere you go, even in America, country people do things different. So there too is the same thing. So imagine me being, someone who knows what I know, interacting and mingling with everybody. And I say, oh, I have to follow my culture. I have to follow the caste system. I mean, think about how ridiculous that would be. Think about how limiting that would be. Like, you people, you don't even know how serious this is. I have listened to beefs I'm talking about WhatsApp beefs where the people are going at each other about this class system, the caste system. So that's why, like, I look at it, I said, okay, maybe this is why all this racism thing, this skin color thing doesn't work for me. This is why I'm not attracted to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's gotten super late. African Caribbean, it looks like you're just waking up in the UK. You missed out on church. I started late over here, and it's pretty late now. I'm going to end the show, but people, thank you for coming. We can agree to disagree, and African Starship, you're welcome to the channel anytime. And if you think, like you said, you want to take the war path with the Afridamos report, that is also a choice that you're making. But know that this is a decision you're taking on your own. So I'm just saying, I want us all to try to, respect each other's perspectives on things. But if people don't want to respect that, I'm good with that as well. As you guys can see, I played you the video of the Hotep prophets going at it with each other. They disagreed. So I'm not going to do a back and forth with anyone, but I would respond to anything that requires a response from my end. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like and subscribe and lift every voice. Hey, thank you for showing up and doing what you do, which is trolling. You are always welcome here. You know that. I know deep down, you secretly have nothing but love for me. But hey, I would let you keep pretending till the day you decide, hey, Afridamos, I have finally seen the light. I no longer have hate in my heart. I'm ready to join the righteous people. And one last thing before I go. I hear even people, they would say to themselves, my truth. And no such thing as my truth. It is the truth. The truth shall set you free. That's what it says. So let's stick by that. Actually, let's see. African Reacts. Email me because I've heard your interview the other day. I think you have very interesting perspectives. So email me, let's coordinate so you can come over here and share your perspective with the people in house here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have a wonderful night or a wonderful morning if you're watching from outside of America. Have a good one.